All right, everyone. Of course, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast, the place where games, comics, meet sports, meet seasons, as well as inspiration. Of course, I go by the name of King Von Jr. Of course, you can follow me on social media, Twitter, 301 King Von Jr. as well as the show's Twitter page at Victory. Excuse me, sorry about that. It's my phone. At Victory Pod one. Also on Instagram at Mr. Kevon Jr. Of course, you can also follow the show's Instagram page, Victorious Ones Podcast. We're also sponsored by this show is also sponsored Unpopular Review or UPR, and so of course, first off, I want to thank Jobber Tears for for being guests and coming through last week. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. I said multiple times. So like I said, I appreciate them for carving out that time and making the episode what it was. Of course, shout out to all three of them, Wilkins, Black, and Janelle, and everything they did. So of course in this episode, I definitely want to, and of course, apologies for for not going through the comments initially during the episode, but I appreciate the feedback during that time. But of course, without further ado, I definitely want to go into my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I know it's a bit late on it, but thankfully I made it to see it. So I'm going to give my review, and I'm going to give my predictions for Night of Champions as well. So all right, so of course, starting off with Guardians. Like I said, I definitely liked it. It was it had more of a serious tone to it, but it still had plenty of me as well. It didn't go bored with it. It was more so the Rocket backstories, because of the fact that Rocket was central figure in this movie in terms of origins, in terms of how he became who he became, and also with the way that we would introduce Adam Warlock. Those absolutely exceptional. Because of the fact that his cocoon was in Guardians 2, right? And so now he's hatched out of his cocoon in Volume 3. And of course, I know that during the Infinity War, there was a lot of criticism, speculation as to why he didn't show up. But the same, I get why he didn't, because it wouldn't have made any sense just to in there out of nowhere, right? But the thing about it is that it worked the way that it needed to, and so of course initially he was seen as enemy, because of how he attacked the ship, and so as far that, like I say, as far as that, like I say, and initially he was seen as enemy because just because nobody knew who he was, what he was about, this and the third, right? But eventually things start making change. Of course, pretty much pretty much like later down the line, movie. And so the thing is, everything picks up from where they left off at Endgame, whereas Star initially looking for Gamora, and of course eventually he finds this version of Gamora, and it's who's a variant from the past. So this is Gamora before she ever entered the Guardians, right? And so so I just gotta say that this Gamora was way more edgier than even the original Gamora. It's just like she had no recollection, no memory, no connection whatsoever. Didn't even try to establish a connection with Quill. No matter how we tried. And so so it's just, but at the same time, she definitely a team player when it mattered the most. You know, and I was like I said, like I said, this was, like I said, she was definitely much more savage than this one, and so like I said, so this movie focused primarily around Rocket's backstory, and just the cruelty and the torture that he went through. It speaks a lot. And animal cruelty speaks to a lot of abuse, speaks to a lot of PTSD that Rocket had to go through. And this villain that they had, the High Evolutionary, I mean, he was just, you know what I mean, like so I was like I said, and plus they've been preparing him to be on the level of like Thanos and Kang, and I guess to an extent. I mean, so yeah, I think when it comes to MCU, nobody's ever going to top Thanos. I don't care what anybody says, but but when it comes to Phase 4, excuse me, this guy, is definitely getting is up there when it comes to the best, and like I say, and just did it Rocket, and I just kept calling by his name P13, and then we found how Rocket got his name, because he was always fascinated by rockets, and like I say, just see what happened with him, as well as other like animals and stuff like that. It's just the things they had to go through, and how that shaped Rocket's perspective, how that shaped him as a character. You know what I mean? It's to see, just for them to his team, his friends, as he calls them, his fellow guardians. Just find out, so much of this dark, savage past that, he never revealed, and it's just like, just for that to be seen, and for, and to find out how he like I said over and over, like I said, just it was mainly about how he became who he became, and just the way that the High Evolutionary wasn't so much about making things perfect, or as he claimed he was making them perfect, but just hitting it off so much that he wanted to rebuild it in his own, in his own form or whatever, and it just the way that the version of just, like I say, it was just a bunch of like humanoid animals, pretty much like living as if they were humans, having their own house, stuff like that, and like I say, it was just as pretty much like just of him recreating thing in his own way, and so it was just just all about chaos, just all about like I said, just all about just absolute destruction that he was about, and it's just control and manipulation, and but another thing is also like Groot's form, if you will, I guess you could say final form, but like I say, and like I say, just the way that he's grown, and how much powerful he's gotten, how he's able to how he's able to store so many different weapons, things like that. You know what I mean? Like Groot became very, like I say, he's always been reliable, but it's just something about the first Groot in the movie. I was like, man, I'm very very much impressed, and what I mean, so it's just like how Nebula was more of the voice of than Gamora herself, and of course the reason why is the fact because of how much Nebula had grown, whereas this Gamora was still in 2014. This was still the same Gamora that was that was actually one of initially a henchman for Thanos. There was of course the fierce woman in the galaxy. You know what I mean? So it's if by the way, this is the same. Like I said, this is more that killed Star-Lord when they first met. But eventually over time that version of more warmed up to him. Like I said, and just like I said, just became more of a team player. Whereas this one, was just for the sake of getting the mission done, right? Connection, whatever. I mean, pretty much like so pretty much just getting in and out the way. I do like comedy elements. I still feel, as though they find a great way to implement comedy, and I think like when it comes when the Guardians, even with some of the sort of like cornier stuff, whatever, they still find a way to make it work, right? And this was the opposite of what I saw in Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Whereas in Love and Thunder, they took the comp and from Ragnarok and just added steroids to it. I was like, come on, this is just like way, a little extra overboard. Whereas when it comes to Guardians, they know how to blend very well, blend it perfectly, to the point where it's not over the top, where it just fits, within, just fits within the theme of the movie, within, when it comes to the theme of the characters, right? And I like how Drax became more of an unsung hero, especially time to rescue those children, and how Mantis, was trying to use sign language, it didn't work, but Drax understood their language, and this is where, even though it's seen as the goofball and stuff like that, excuse me, even though Drax, it was seen as like it's the silliest character, sort of like the big goofy for whatever type of thing, but this is that humor came at the right, it really came into play perfectly, and just goes to show that you can underestimate anybody, and shows that everybody has vital role, a very important role, a mission, it's just like, no matter who you are, like I said, at some point in time, those attributes are going to matter. Those attributes are going to factor in, and so Drax that matter the most. And of course, for the for the part of that movie, Rocket was fighting for his, it's so of course, like, and the thing is, what they were working on was saving him. That's when we saw those flashbacks and all those different events, that made him who he became. And of course, I love how sequencing when it comes to the, and Guardians of the Galaxy are always known for this track. You know what I mean? Like the sound, the music. This is the movie where the soundtrack is the foundation of it, where the music drives the movie in and of. Like so, each scene has a song that fits perfectly with it, right? And things I like how they use the Beastie Boys' "No Sleep Till Brooklyn." I thought that scene was great. I thought that scene was absolutely incredible. And so like and I was like what, that's, I said this, this music fits perfectly with it. And so like I said, eventually Adam Warlock got a second chance. Eventually, if he got a second chance, he redeemed himself. From in the movie, and and the thing is, I like how Groot said it in his language, and so just go show that even though his origins were initially like as an enemy, but eventually he has his own redemption arc. And so let me slow. But yeah, like I said before, the yourself, like I said, I'll say Guardians had one of the better trilogies, other than like Captain America, and like I said, other than Captain America, and even the CU Spider-Man trilogy. But yeah, like I'm saying, the Guardians of the Galaxy they overachieved, right? And so the thing is, they went from being seen as like a level this group to being to being at the forefront of the MCU, to being these unsung heroes, you know what I mean, and just exceeding expectations, and just have just phenomenal box office and critical success, and so when I look at their trilogy resume, it's up there with the best of them, and nobody can tell me any otherwise. And also, like, the way that the team without anybody having died, even though they're very, very close to losing Star-Lord. But thankfully, of course, thankfully, Adam Warlock came in just in time. But at the like I said, at first I thought there were going to be casualties. First of the Rocket was going to be the casualty, but clearly that didn't happen. Star-Lord was going to be actually got for draft was going to be one at some point. Went to the movie, but of course, that never happened. We want to talk about it happening without anybody dying. This is absolutely amazing. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, what I mean. So like I said, overall, I was very much impressed with the movie. As far as where it ranks, make an argument for being number one. I would say between and volume one. I said that those are neck and neck from when it comes to acting. So like us, like before, everybody just disbanded in certain ways. Gamora went back to her team. Shout out to Sylvester Stallone being in this movie. The movie is like I was saying, at the end, more goes to several ways. Nebula, Drax, of course, like I said, they go separate ways, and I guess you sort of like protect nowhere, or whatever. Rocket is a separate way. Star-Lord goes back to Earth, and so it's at the end of the day, it's just like everybody just stands, and at the very end, instead of just saying Groot, he was like, "I love you guys." I was like, "Wow!" So as soon as the team breaks up, Groot actually speaks English. I was like, "Man, that is hilarious." What I mean. So it's just like So as far as that, the Guardians of the Galaxy, as far as a franchise, it has superseded expectations. They become legends. So like I guess I'm holding the microwave. The thing is, they become in their own right, and so like I like how this movie laid out. Is certainly one of the better, if not the best movie of Phase 4 thus far. And especially considering the kind of material that we've been with Phase 4, and how it has fallen very short of the standards that the first three phases said, especially when came phase three. Phase three so far very, 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 very high. And sometimes I was thinking that the Marvel may have set our too high for their own good. But thankfully, we have a movie like Guardians 3 that is absolutely phenomenal. It's like amazing, and so so as far as that, like I said, I was um, more than impressed, far like I said, more like I said, far more than impressed, with the way that this turned out, so. I mean, not too many complaints about it. Like I said, this was the Guardians finale. It was a farewell. Let me start. It was a farewell, great send off. So that's really all I have to say when it comes. Now, when it comes to and by the way, side note, I want to say rest in peace to Tina Turner, the queen of rock and roll. She was the EST rock and roll, you know what I mean? And so it's just like she was fearless. She was incredible, exceptional. Like I said, transcendent when it comes to music, you know what I mean? So it's just like she's absolute one of a kind. She's just just an absolute diamond, you know what I mean? And 2 years ago, she finally went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by herself. And she very, very wears. So it was a very, very, very tragic, sad loss. Even though there was an interview that she did with Oprah, that research today, and how she had no problem with making the transition. In other words, in other words, when it's time for her to go. So it's just like, and the thing is, she just knew it was time. It was time. So clearly she knew. So Peter Tina Turner, trailblazer, icon in every single way. So now, without further ado, it's time for me to get into my predictions for Night of Champions. When it comes to this championship, of course, the Raw Women's Championship, supposedly the SmackDown. When it was supposedly a SmackDown Women's Championship, even though Raw Champions has been drafted now, they still haven't done a title swap yet. But anyway, we have the EST Bianca Belair versus Asuka. As great as it would be to Asuka win it, I'm thinking that that Jaina is going to continue her run. And especially with our already the 40 threshold, and it's just like, if it ain't, don't fix it, right? But I'm expecting a great match. I'm expecting even better match they had at WrestleMania. Not that was bad, but it's just that Rhea versus Charlotte just supersede that match. It's just that match versus Charlotte for night one raised the bar extremely high. So I'm thinking that with more of a story now, like I say, with more layers there's at now, I'm thinking that they could deliver higher than what they did at Mania. I'll say that. Now when it comes to now when it comes to the Intercontinental Championship, when it's the Intercontinental Championship, you have Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. I'm just going to go and say it like that. Just because it is in Saudi Arabia, doesn't mean that it's guaranteed that's going to win. I'll say like thinking about it as, of course, I'll just remind people of Backlash. It was in Puerto Rico, in Zelina Vega's home country, but did she walk away with the championship? Oh, she didn't. I mean, so like, just because it's in your home country is not that it's guaranteed that's promised for you to win. And so with that said, especially considering that Gunther is just on a march for history, You know what I mean. So like just because he's such an incredible, remarkable martial history. And the things I'm in this corner, I'm supporting him, and just cheering for him to break Honky Tonk's right, because that record is long overdue to be broken, especially with some of his caliber. And because of that, I'm going with Gunther to obtain the title. And of course, there is actually another women's championship match, Rip versus Natalia for the SmackDown Championship. I'm going to go with Rhea Riptide Ripley. And of course, it talks that this could be Natty's retirement match. So that makes it even more for Rhea to retain the title. And the thing is, even though Natty's very popular, she's a legendary figure when it's the women's wrestling. I give her that, a future Hall of Famer and everything like that. But the thing about it is that Natty's already accomplished everything that she probably could, and this is Rhea's prime time to shine, to excel. So it only makes sense because the fact that Natty is more of the vet, far more established. It only makes sense for Rhea to retain. So and things it doesn't make sense at all for her to be champion, for like a month and have nothing to show for it. So with that being said, of course, Rhea's going to win it. And so of course, when it comes, of course, speaking of women's wrestling, of course, so speaking of women's wrestling, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to, so of course, to Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai, for sustaining devastating injuries. So of course, my thoughts and prayers out to them in that regard. Oh yes, like I said, just praying for them to have a speedy recovery. Now is of course, and I noticed that even though I'm not saying everything in order, but the thing, I guess I'm going a little bit backwards or whatever. The thing about it is that I noticed that when it comes to this match called 3 straight women matches, which is absolutely amazing. You know what I mean? So of course, my hats off to the women's division and all they do, and of course, yes, back Monday we just had a contract signing for Becky versus Trish Stratus. This, excuse me, if anything, this is the for like the grudge. This is like the fantasy warfare type of match, and so so of course, I'm looking forward to this. This, like I said, I look forward to just an epic showdown, and the thing is they have both delivered on the mic, and it's just like it's just like with the way Trish's his healed character has become. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like she's undeniable. You know what I mean? And the thing is absolutely incredible. Shows Trish shows that she still has it. And just the way that the way that she's go toe to toe with somebody who's excelling on the mic herself, somebody like Becky Lynch, and and how Trish has been a pioneer when it comes to this women's sort of women's like evolution, empowerment, and things like that, and just how she was one of those who paved the way for for the likes of the four horse to do what it is that they have. And Becky's an absolute great ideal opponent, and their war of words has escalated exponentially. You know what I mean? It's especially when it's to this recent promo and the way that Becky clapped down her and how Becky put up when Trish barked like a dog, and I was like, oh, so just like Birds Farms, Becky remembers, and just the way that she had those receipts lined up and ready for her, and it's just like, I like this intensity. And shout out to Stephanie Heights on Twitter for the for that graphic that she had for Trish versus Becky, and of course it was absolutely amazing. And Becky herself even shared on Instagram story before, and she's a huge Becky Lynch fan. By the way, and I look forward to that eventually being on a T-shirt. the hoodie, because I believe I will throw my dollars at, and of course I know that this match is absolutely going to deliver. So I think they're just going to bring out the absolute best in each other. Two legends. One's already a Hall of Famer, being Trish, and he is on her way to being in the Hall of Fame. And in fact, when I did my women's wrestlers list, they're neck to neck each other. I actually have Becky fourth, and Trish is interchangeable. But yeah, you know what I mean. But at the same time, they're definitely going to go to tear the house down. Out there in Saudi. So so now and the thing is, I want to get those out the way because it feels like the other matches are going to be a little bit tougher to call. It's I'll say like very dicey, very tricky when it comes to the KO and Sammy versus Bloodline featuring Roman and Solo. And this is going to be chaotic, because one end, imagine Roman and Solo hold the tag titles, and Roman is a champion. I mean, you want to talk chaos. You want to talk about the internet blowing up, Twitter just imploding. Twitter just exploding and turning wildfire. I mean, and not just just really erupt like a volcano if Roman becomes a tag team champion. And it's just just like Roman was on the quest to gather the Infinity Stones. So on one end that happened, but at the same time, especially because that ever since he's been the tribal chief, he's never lost by pinfall. The only times he's lost probably disqualification or count out, but that don't really mean much. Whereas with this, he hasn't had a decisive, clean loss like that's the thing. So this could be like this. Either those could interfere on Roman and Solo's behalf, or they can end up turning on the Bloodline. And it causing KO and Sammy to retain the titles. And that'd be very, very intriguing. Same time, KO and Sammy and KO need to branch off from the Bloodline because they're so heavily dependent on the storylines when it comes to Sami Zayn. He is so codependent on storyline. Is so codependent storyline. It's almost scary, and so it's just like I'm very torn, so like this kind of thing. I'm slightly going towards KO and Sammy for some reason. Why? But but the thing is, it's just like as a tag team, they need to get more momentum under their wings, just to become more of a credible, just to have a more credible reign, because the fact that it feels like honestly it feels like, but it's true. It's just that the win at Mania has overshadowed their actual title reign, so I'm hoping this will be a conclusion and thing with CKO related to the Bloodline, because it's time for this to move on. Now, of course, Chevy versus Brock. Backlash, that was absolutely great. I see Cody taking the win, and this, and the thing is, Cody's phase of sort of earning his stripes. And it's just and sort of like his, humbling process, if you will. The thing about it is that this sort of Cody humbling process, I think it's good that they keep him away from the new one from this World Heavyweight title, just so he himself up more, as a more respected baby face, and what better way than to slay the beast himself, Brock Lesnar. I thoroughly enjoyed that match at Backlash, but I think that they're going to take it to a whole nother level. at 9 games. But then again, this could also be Brock's revenge, Brock's receipt. Even though he's more in the phase of career of being more giving, right. And in fact, on Perfect Plex on Monday, Knox and I, Knox, Mom and D, in our host DJ, who talked about how how a lot of these guys at the end of the road look like Johnson is, Edge and Randy Orton, Mysterio, Jericho, and Lesnar as well. So it's just like, the thing is, Lesnar's still dominant, but he's more of the slowing down phase. So I got this of just him, so being more giving in that aspect when Cody, so if anything, I would say that he needs this more so than Brock. So that's the sense I'm Cody. And now when it comes to the tournament final for the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship, even though online, that's something that where they confirm that this new World Heavyweight Championship will continue the lineage of the big gold title. Only difference is it has a giant WWE logo on the front, but it's designed and shaped just like the big gold belt. So the thing is that they're gonna continue with that they off with since like 2013, whatever. So as far as that, I was if thing that I would see that definitely makes sense. But of course, of course in the front, we have Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, the visionary, the revolutionary versus the phenomenal one, and that is absolutely a ring match. And I know that this, to me, I would say it'd be the match of the night, at least in my estimation. And pretty torn opinions, but in the end, I'm actually gonna go with Seth Rollins, even though he's on his way to Hollywood. Especially with that role, new Captain America movie. We're gonna be like one of the part of the serpent, whatever. So and I know that he's gonna be a significant role. He's gonna be a very convincing villain. I've seen the behind the scenes picture, at least on set. I was like, yeah, it'd be amazing, and for him to be the champion, and just to carry that as a brand, that'd be absolutely great. So with that being said, I have Rollins winning in the final. So those are my prediction, and that is my review of Guardians Volume 3. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great night.